Kristen Denny-Chambers, clarinetist, composer, and founder of Clarinet Playground. This is video number 25 out of 40, going through all of the etudes and Finger Fitness Études with some ideas and tricks to help you as you get started with the music. This one is for Mixed Bag. Mixed Bag is dedicated to Andrew Simon. Boasting a distinguished career spanning over 3 decades, New York-born clarinetist Andrew Simon has appeared as a soloist and guest lecturer on 4 continents. As Principal Clarinet of the Hong Kong Philharmonic Orchestra since 1988, Simon has recorded solo works by Baermann and Stravinsky and has performed concerti over 70 times, including John Corigliano's Concerto for Clarinet and Orchestra, which he studied with the Academy Award-winning composer. Andrew's biography is very lengthy. He's accomplished so much, so I will be sure to share the entire biography down below in the notes. Apart from his life as a performer, Simon is also a committed music educator, regularly writing articles, lecturing at conventions, and serving on the faculties of the Hong Kong Academy for Performing Arts, the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and Hong Kong Baptist University. As guest lecturer, he frequents institutions such as Yale University and the New World Symphony in the United States, the Sydney Conservatorium, the Royal College of Music, and the South Bank Symphonia in London and the Central Conservatory in Beijing. During COVID-19, he founded Andy's Licorice Talk. Now this is where he really started to pop up on my radar. It included interviews, educational videos, commissions of new works, and music videos featuring the city of Hong Kong. It has been supported by hundreds of thousands of viewers. I really enjoyed watching those interviews, and it helped open a dialogue between Andy and I. I contacted him about being a reader on my books, and he actually was the one that got me in touch with Michelle Zakowski. And Michelle ended up editing my first book, and then Andrew ended up editing my second book, and it has been a wonderful experience getting to know him as well as Michelle. Andrew's a very laid-back and funny person. I really enjoy working with him. He's been very helpful with my music. And when I think about Mixed Bag, it's sort of like you never know quite what he's going to say next. So that's what this etude just kind of makes me think of him. So I really hope you enjoy learning this music. Let's dive right in. At the bottom of each page in this book, you'll find 1 or 2 practice tips. For this one, we have aim for long phrases through the articulated measures. We'll go over that here in a little bit. At the top of each page, you'll find 2 finger drills. As a reminder, these are very important. Make sure you're spending some time here practicing these combinations so that you're really comfortable once they're thrown into the music. So here we have 2 drills that are going to require the right and left hand coordination. So the first one is A flat to D flat. So we have to lift all of the fingers of the right hand and time setting down that left hand just right, just for the pinky for the D flat. So there's some coordination there. And then on the bottom drill, we play A flat to D natural. So now we're lifting even higher. We have to lift all the fingers of the right hand plus 1 finger of the left hand. And here's where I think about my lead fingers. So I'm going to lead with this finger of the left hand as I lift. Think of that one being the leader. That way I avoid the little scale up. So I'm going to lead with the left, and as I set my fingers down, I'm going to lead with the right hand. And that will eliminate little blips or scale notes in between large leaps like these. For the style and character of this etude, we have sprightly, on the edge of your seat. So this is kind of quick. We want to work up to that though, so take your time and learn slowly at first. This one is really full of surprises, just like a Mixed Bag. So we start with this very articulated, quickly moving finger pattern that we have to coordinate our tongue and our fingers with, and that's tricky, and it's also really fun, and it's just kind of flying. And then we do have like mostly flying and fast with energy music in this, but there's one gentle section marked sweetly, and that provides a really nice contrast in the etude. As we take a look at the rhythm in this etude, we'll find rhythms that are pretty typical to 6/8 or compound meter. So in this first example, we have the dotted 8th note with the 3/16 notes, And I count that, you can count it either in 6 or in 2. If you count it in 2, you would say something like 1, te 3, te 4, te 6, te 1. If you count it in 2, then the dotted notes will become the numbers. Those are your 1 and your 2. And then you're subdividing, if you had constant 16th notes, if you jump forward to measure 3, 1 ta la ta li ta. So then measure 1 would be 1 ta li ta 2 ta li ta 1. And measure 3 again, 1 ta la ta li ta 2 ta la ta li ta. Or if you count it in 6, 1 te 2 te 3 te 4 te 5 te 6 te. Additionally, you can always subdivide dotted rhythms, so that would mean you would get 3 extra 16th note subdivisions for those dotted 8th notes. In measure 15, we have the 8th note followed by 4 16th notes. In 16, we have the dotted 8th, 16th, 8th, and then the dotted quarter note. So you would count that in 6 as 1, 2 te 3 te 4, 5 te 6 te 1, te 3, 4. And if you count in 2, 1 la ta li ta 2, la ta li ta 1, ta li 4. In measure 25, we're in the sweetly section. The rhythms are a little bit more simplified here. In 6, we would have 1, te 3, 4, 6, 1, te 3, 4, 5, 6. In 2, we would have 1, ta li 2, li 1, ta li 2, la li. Finally, in measure 40 and 41, the very ending, we have the dotted 8th note followed by lots of 16th notes and then 4 8th notes to round out the piece. For counting in 6, that would be 1, te 3, te 4, te 5, te 6, te 1, 2, 3, 4. For counting in 2, that would be 1, ta li ta 2, ta la ta li ta 1, la li 2. Now we'll get into some areas for some special focus. Rapid articulation and finger movement. Having to coordinate those two things together is a big challenge in this etude. So if we look at the very first example, this is the beginning. We have the C, the A flat, the D flat, the A flat, the D natural, the A flat, the D flat, the A flat, the C. So we're getting that finger drill in there, right? And we're having to articulate and we're having to move our fingers. So this is where you can easily get really jumbled up. Your tongue might feel like it's getting tied, and there are some ways that we can work on this to make it a lot easier. But we also have examples like this in measure 11. We have more rapid articulation with finger movement. Measure 17 is similar to the beginning, but now we're doing the minor, in F minor. And then in measure 40, we have that rapid fire ending that leads to the subito piano. So where do we begin with a passage like this? You can simplify to work on one element at a time. I've taken that first phrase and broken it down into 3 phases. So if we look at this first phase, I'm going to articulate all C's for that rhythm. And that's going to help me do 2 things. It's going to help me really listen and make sure my tongue is articulating consistently. It's going to help me listen to the note values and make sure that the lengths are all matching. And that is so critical because we want to get that nice rebound or a consistent articulation bounce off of the reed so that when we start to move our fingers to it, it sounds really clean and crisp. So a single note to work on that articulation. Now I like to move to phase 2, where I'm going to play the C, then 3 D flats, the D natural, and then 3 D flats. In phase 3, I'm going to play the C, then play 3 A flats, then I'll play the D natural, and then play 3 A flats. And then if you think a little bit more forward with how this piece works, you have this first line, and then the second line is piano. So then you could take yourself through all three of these phases, playing the first phase as mezzo forte and the second phase as piano. And that will really help you not only really clean up your articulation, but allow you to be able to manage that at mezzo forte and at piano. Now, after going through all of those phases, we should be able to put that back together and play really cleanly, and it should feel a lot easier. Now you can take that idea of the phases and go back to all of those excerpts where we have this idea of the rapid articulation with moving fingers. So what we've done so far is we took apart the first four measures doing this idea. So if we look at measure 11 and then just take yourself through those phases, you can get creative with it and kind of create your own phases, but those work really well for me, and then when I put it back together, it's really easy. So I'll go through all phases with measure 11. You can continue this same idea with measure 17 and the ending starting in measure 40. Other areas that would need your focus are the slurred passages. Looks can be deceiving here, so take the time to make sure fingers are moving smoothly and evenly. Other areas to be aware of are dynamic contrasts. Those are critical, especially in segments that are repeated. So like line 1 and then line 2, we go mezzo forte and then we go piano. So we want to really show those echoes. And then at the very end, when we have that subito piano, we want to really work hard to make that effective. We can also revisit the practice tip and the concept of long phrases through the articulated bits. So if you think about the very beginning, we have all this articulation. It can be really easy to get bogged down and lose sight of the long phrase, so really blow through that. Also, be ready for the character shift in and out of the sweetly section. So we've got to get into it just right, and then we've got to figure out a nice way to get out of it. And this is where we pace the dynamics and the molto rit to the fermata. For those of you with a low C instrument, there is a low C version on page 58. I always say learn the original etude as a rule, and you'll have a lot of fun because there are lots of areas that highlight those low auxiliary keys in this etude. And now for some final thoughts. Mixed Bag is full of surprises. It's a workout requiring solid finger coordination in conjunction with rapid articulation, smooth and even fingers and passages that go up and down the instrument, dynamic contrast in the form of echoes, a character shift, molto rit to a fermata, and finally a rapid fire ending with subito piano punctuation to finish. I'm tempted to write this etude in other keys since I think it would serve a really good warm-up in many keys. You can even transpose this yourself if you want as an added challenge, but mostly have fun and think about Andrew. You never know what might be up his sleeve. To listen to a beautiful recording of this etude and all other etudes from this book, head over to my website, clarinetplayground.com. Trevor Stewart has recorded all 40 etudes beautifully, and they are available for purchase there on my website. Feel free to join us in the Clarinet Playground group on Facebook where we play and post for each other. And head over to my website at clarinetplayground.com for more fun music and books. Thank you so much. And if you counted in two, one.